Probably a more realistic scenario is where the contractor states, I have to finish by the green line, but you know what, I'm struggling a little bit on this project. I have been delayed. This is a culpable delay. In other words, I cannot get an extension of time. And I plan to finish, let's say, 1 week after the completion date. Okay? Now, what we often see in practice is if the situation is as in example 2, and the contractor revises his program, contractors tend to call the planned completion date the completion date. In other words, they move the yellow line to coincide with the red line. And that's why a lot of project managers says, I refuse to accept your program because your program shows the completion date has moved, and they fear that if they then approve that program, the contractor automatically gets an extension of time because you've now approved the program that shows a later completion date than the contractual completion date. So it's critically important that we make that distinction between the completion date and the planned completion date. Okay, and if contractors show planned completion later than the completion date, you can absolutely safely accept that program. It does not mean that the contractor gets an extension of time. It also doesn't mean that you condone late completion, because the contractor will be liable for delay damages for the period between the completion date and the planned completion date. Okay, so make that very critical distinction between the completion dates and the planned completion date. The contractor